going to wash or scour the fleece. So I have 2 buckets here, and I've even marked wool on them, so that these are just used for when I wash my fleeces. I guess I should say, this is how I wash a sheep fleece. Alpaca, things like that would be different because they don't have the grease, the lanolin in them that a sheep fleece does. So I've got 2 buckets here, and I just use a pitcher and I fill them with hot tap water. Now, we don't have small children here, so our tap water is super hot. And you want that to dissolve the lanolin. So I've got 2 buckets here, and the reason why I fill them both up now is because I want my wash water and my first rinse water to be the same temperature to try to prevent any felting. So I go ahead and I fill them both up at the same time. Now, I do more than one rinse, but then I just kind of estimate the temperature. I do also use the lids. I don't snap them down, but I just sit them on top to keep the heat in for as long as possible. So what I use is Dawn blue dish soap. Everybody uses that, and I just eyeball it. I just put a swish in there. And I don't put the soap in before the water because I don't want a bunch of suds. I just want it to be a little bit soapy. And then this trick I learned from Blue Mountain Handcrafts. She uses this. It's simple green. It's the lemon scent, not the icky green stuff. And if you just put a good glug of that in there, depending on how greasy your fleece is, mine is pretty greasy, that really helps the Dawn break up the grease. Then I just have a really long spoon, and I just kind of give it a little bit of a swish to mix it up. And it makes it kind of a aqua color. So now, here's our fleece in our bags. And I just gently put it in the water. And you don't want to agitate it too much, but I'm just going to press it down underneath. Ooh, and the water's already getting really filthy. Now that creamy looking stuff that you'll see come out of the fleece, that's actually the lanolin. So, and I can get 3 of these small bags into a 5-gallon bucket. Now, I do this in a bucket, not in my sink, not in my bathtub, because you do not, I repeat, you do not want this lanolin going down your pipes, because it will clog up your pipes something fierce. Your husband will be very upset. So I do it in a bucket so that I can take it out and dump it outside when it's done. And now I'm just kind of pressing down a little bit, making sure that it's all saturated in there and it's all under the water. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but the water is already pretty nasty. But I'm going to let this soak in this bucket for about an hour. And then we will come back. Most of that lanolin will all be dissolved, and we'll come back and we'll do a rinse. So we will be back after this sits for a while. Okay, so we're back. And this is exactly why I put lids on this, because it's been actually a little over 2 hours now. I got busy doing something and lost track of time. So we are going to, but the water is still really, probably still pretty hot. So we are going to rinse these. So now this is why I use a spoon, because water's still pretty hot. So we're going to pick them up out of the water and see how now it's only about half the bag is got fleece now that it's wet and it kind of bunches together. And we're just going to gently squeeze out the water.
Hey, Eric.
I'm recording.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, that's all right. Gently, you don't want to agitate it really a lot. And then we're just going to, I'm just going to kind of spread it out a little bit and put it in the other bucket of water to rinse. See, look at that dirty water. Ick. Okay, it's still really hot. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Okay. Rinse. And last one. And there's vegetable matter coming out. Okay, now these go in here, and I'm going to push them down, and you can still see lanolin and dirt coming out. So I'm going to leave this in the clean water to soak for just a few minutes. Try to get as much dirt and lanolin and soap out in this first rinse. And then I'm going to dump this outside and then get water the same temperature as this in this bucket and do a second rinse. And if it's still super, super dirty, I mean, depending on how muddy and dirty your fleece is, instead of doing just one wash, you can do two. You can double wash it and then rinse it a couple times. I'm going to go ahead and just do one or two more rinses, and that really should take care of it. So I'm going to dump this bucket, fill this with clean water, and then we'll go from here to there. Okay, so this is my third rinse. And the water's much, much cleaner. So I think we're just going to go ahead and stop there. That was my second rinse. This is my third. So as you can see, this is much cleaner water than when we started. So actually, there's not so much dirt in this last one as there is that creamy lanolin that you can see, which I prefer not to strip all of the lanolin out because you want a little bit of oils in there to be able to keep it so it's not too dry. But so just gently, you don't want to felt it, you just want to be gentle while it's wet and not agitate it too much, but just firmly and firmly but gently. That makes sense. Squeeze the butter out, and it's pretty warm. And another thing that will felt your fleece is extreme temperature changes. So you want to keep your water fairly consistent so that doesn't felt that way. So now all I'm going to do is take this down to the basement by the wood stove and put it on a rack to dry. And then I'll show you that, my setup. And then it'll be ready to process. So I'm going to take it downstairs and put it out to dry. Okay, so here it is all laid out. And that's all 3 bags. So that's why I do it in such small batches, because to give me space to dry it. And I've got my 3 bags down there to dry too. But it's looking pretty good. I mean, it doesn't look like much right now while it's still wet. And also because it had that matted towards the bottom. That's what you predominantly see right now. But once it's dry, it'll fluff up some. And of course now you can see a lot more of the vegetable matter. And that will get out. I don't want to mess with it too much while it's wet because I don't want to felt it. But there we go. Isn't that a beautiful fleece? I mean, the colors are really pretty. But it is going to take some more work to get it ready to spin. So we'll put that in another video, but we're going to let this dry for a couple days and then we'll move on. So you guys have a great afternoon, and thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and also remember that God is good.